Hello! Welcome back to another drift truck video. Today is a very important day. By the end of this video, the engine will be in the truck, bolted in for its final time, hopefully. The fuel system will be all plumbed up, and that's it. But that is so important. It's been so long. We've put the engine in and out of this truck at least a dozen times. Putting it in there for the last time with a painted engine bay with the fuel system. It's an important moment. We got a lot of parts here. We got some hood latches since we had to delete the hood latch. We got a clutch line. I just got one for a 240SX. Hopefully that works. Right now it is Thursday and I don't have any of the fuel system parts I need to finish the fuel system. And I have to run all the fuel lines before I put the engine in, just because it's gonna be so much easier. So while we wait for those fuel lines to arrive, I'm gonna go ahead and take off the valve covers and paint them a nice aluminum to match all the aluminum stuff in the engine bay. Then we also have to take off the AC compressor and power steering pump from the engine. I know a lot of you guys are questioning the fact that I'm removing AC and power steering. Number one, the truck doesn't have AC, doesn't have any sort of AC system, so we'd have to, it's not worth it. I'm sticking with manual steering because I like the way manual steering feels. I like drifting with manual steering. It's not as hard as you guys think. I drifted the Miata with manual steering, and the truck doesn't weigh a lot more than a Miata. Adding a power steering system right now would just make things so much more complicated. We might do it down the line, but for now, manual steering is gonna work. Let's get started. Let's paint these valve covers. First, I wanna make sure this thing fits. Oh, I love Japanese cars. Everything's the same on every single one. That's so great. Our 240SX clutch line works perfectly in our Mazda truck. I just wish it wasn't orange, and I wish it was a little longer. So I don't know if that's gonna be long though. Just look at how incredibly clean this motor is. It's like a brand new freaking engine. It's so freaking awesome. So hyped. Let's go ahead and start painting these bad boys. Also, all the electrical tape on the engine wiring harness, this bad boy, just falling apart. This is some of the electrical tape, and look, you can literally just like crumble it up. Before, after. We removed the power steering pump and the AC compressor. Ideally, we would come up with some sort of dummy pulley to put right here. I don't have a correct pulley to make a dummy pulley, so I think we're just gonna have Mike make something or do something. Both the valve covers now have paint. They look really great. But instead of rushing things and putting the valve covers on now, I'm gonna go ahead and let them dry overnight, then we'll put them on the engine tomorrow morning to the fuel system and put the engine in. So with that being said, I will see you guys tomorrow. It's the next day, the valve covers are dry, and I went ahead and put them on the engine. They're looking pretty fantastic. It definitely looks clean in OEM, which part of me loves, part of me wishes I went with a crazier color, but I like it. It's nice and clean, it's gonna look really good in the engine. I've actually been waiting all freaking day for these fuel lines to get delivered. Normally I get things delivered from Amazon at like, noon. Right now it is 7 and this just got delivered. Had to buy it in bulk sadly, so I had to get 25 feet of it. I went to test it and it's not the right size. Well, I went to all the auto parts stores around here. They don't have the fuel line I need, so I'm just gonna go ahead, order another bulk size of the correct fuel line. I can't really get mad at anyone. It was my fault for ordering the wrong fuel line. It's just so annoying. So I'll see you guys when the fuel line arrives. Bye. Oh, let's go ahead and get this fuel system in so we can continue with the truck. that's all we needed to do. That's it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull off those lines, put some heat wrap on them, and make them look a little prettier, and then we can put them in for good. Nice and heat wrapped. Looks super clean. Should protect the rubber hose from the manifolds, which is right next to. That's why we did this. And yeah, it looks awesome. I use like a high temp heat shrink to hold the heat wrap in place on the hose, so like it doesn't move anywhere. So that's awesome. On these fittings, hose clamps aren't required. They're like super aggressive hose barbs that, you know, you can't even take off if you tried. You actually have to cut them off if you want to remove them. But I'm putting them on there just in case. If any fuel leaks onto this heat wrap and it's right next to the headers, that's a fire. So we want to do everything that we possibly can to make sure these don't leak. So extra hose clamps, sure, might as well. There's no harm. Those lines are in and looking good. So the engine is now ready to be mounted. I had to go ahead and swap the fuel rail like crossover tube. The other thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is mount the engine part of the oil filter relocation kit. Obviously the frame is sitting probably right there, so there's not enough room to have the oil filter right here, so I have a relocation kit. The one problem about this kit is that this thing is pretty much as long as an oil filter itself, and with hoses on the end, it's probably gonna be longer. That's so dumb. I'll get some 90-degree fittings and then it'll be fine, but till then, let's put this engine here. For the first time ever, the hood closes with the one you see under the hood. It's on the lift right now, so that's why it's still monster trucking, but it's so close, guys. So close. I'm gonna test fit this bad boy. Happy to announce that it fits. Well, ladies and gents, you know what they say? More gussets equals more good. Add more gussets. Add more good. Hell yeah. Strut bar has cooled off after welding. I went ahead and sanded it up, and now it is ready for some paint. We're gonna paint it gloss black to match the engine bay. Sweet. That's pretty good. So now, to open the hood, it's closed right now. Obviously it's not gonna budge. Pop one, pop the other, slide up, and then, ta-da! Install was, you know, relatively easy. It's really tricky, but it's easy. I accidentally scratched the paint right there. Not too worried about it though, because this paint was already pretty screwed up. This was all here before I got the truck. I would have liked to space them in towards the middle of the trunk, but there's nothing underneath for me to bolt the pins into then. So as you can see, this was kind of like the farthest in I could place them, unless I wanted to place them up here, but I can't because the front of the hood is curved. So real quick, I'm gonna do one more fuel line and then be done. The other fuel line I have to make is a fuel line that connects the out of the fuel pressure regulator to a fuel filter right here, and then to the fuel rail. So this is our fuel filter right here. Nice and simple. I'm just gonna zip tie it right there. It's gonna get zip tied like so. I just need to get one more fitting before I can do that. I think that's pretty much it for today. We got the engine in, bolted in for its final assembly, painted the valve covers. Kind of sucks because like the front of the engine is what you see most, and all this stuff is really gross and dirty, and you can't really easily take it off to paint it. It's kind of like an entire front end disassembly. I'm hoping with an intake here, rewrapped wiring harness that's black instead of barf blue, it'll look a little better, because I'll be honest, I'm not like super happy with the way the engine bay looks. I don't really care how the engine bay looks that much, but I definitely wish I would have kept the red engine bay and did like black valve covers, but whatever. As long as it rips and makes lots of power, which it will, it's all that matters. We got quite a bit done today, so let me cross off some stuff here. Clutch line. Check. Modify fuel system. Check. In the next video, we are going to be doing this. As you can see over here, the adapter plate, the flywheel, and the clutch have arrived. So hopefully that goes smoothly. Our radiator is coming this week. We send it off to have the headers made, and then we send it off to get wired, and then it's done. I'm really excited for that. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Finishing the fuel system, bolting in the engine. Wasn't super interesting, but tomorrow's video, mounting the trans, it's gonna be awesome. For the first time, we're gonna be able to put the clutch in, shift it through the gears, and it's just gonna be so awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you didn't, please give it a dislike, and tell me why you disliked the video. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of Drift Truck Awesomeness. Yeah, peace out, guys.